Some fathers are not exploding, leaving, or collapsing. They are simply going quiet inside. They answer the kids, pay bills, wash dishes, and disappear behind their own eyes. From the outside, that can look like patience, discipline, maturity, even admirable strength. But sometimes that calm is not peace, it is emotional oxygen running dangerously low. A lot of fathers are burning out without ever using that word once. Because male burnout often sounds less like panic and more like, I'm fine. Less asking for help, more staying useful so nobody notices the cost. Silence does not mean the pressure is manageable. Sometimes it means the pressure buried itself. Many fathers were taught that love means carrying everything without slowing anybody else down. So when they feel overwhelmed, they do not name pain, they increase effort. They work longer, speak less, sleep worse, and call that noble responsibility. Then they wonder why a school email or teen silence suddenly feels enormous. Burnout rarely arrives like drama, it arrives disguised as ordinary family life. The father still shows up, which makes everybody assume he must be coping. He is at practice, the grocery store, the dentist, bedtime, and the parent portal. He answers Slack during bath time while remembering what still needs paying first. He listens to a child talk while calculating tomorrow's meeting and next month's bills. He is physically in the room, but internally running 6 emergencies at once. And because he is still functioning, almost nobody calls it serious overload. He may not call it overload either, because he still loves his family deeply. That is what makes this kind of burnout so confusing and easy to miss. Love is still there, commitment is still there, and so is relentless strain. The problem is not lack of care, it is too much unrelieved pressure. Modern fatherhood demands old-school endurance and new-school emotional fluency at the same time. Be strong but also soft enough to soothe everybody else's hardest moments. Provide financially, stay ambitious professionally, and remain fully available every meaningful evening. Understand your child's anxiety, your partner's needs, your boss's expectations, and your own reactions. Then do it all while acting like the pressure is perfectly normal. For many fathers, the hardest part is not effort, it is contradiction. They were raised to solve problems, but family stress rarely offers neat solutions. A daughter's anxiety is not a leaking pipe, and a son's shutdown is not mechanical. A partner's exhaustion is not a spreadsheet error with a satisfying fix. These problems ask for presence, patience, and emotional tolerance under constant fatigue. If nobody taught you how to stay present when overwhelmed, silence feels safer. Not because you do not care, but because words feel risky when overloaded. This is why some fathers become irritable in homes they genuinely love. Home is where exhaustion surfaces because work at least provides structure and competence. At home, there is noise, interruption, mess, emotion, need, and no off switch. A toddler wants juice while your phone buzzes with another client message. Your teen wants privacy but also wants you emotionally available at exactly the right moment. The kitchen is half clean, the laundry is wet, and someone is already disappointed. None of that sounds catastrophic, which is why fathers often shame themselves for struggling. But exhaustion does not always come from weakness, it often comes from relentless switching. Your brain does not care whether each stress looks small from the outside. It cares how often you must change roles without any real recovery. Provider to playmate, employee to chauffeur, problem solver to peacemaker, listener to enforcer, calm adult to emotional container for everybody else's difficult day and disappointed moods. That kind of switching burns energy faster than most exhausted people realize. So the burnout hides inside behavior that looks ordinary, familiar, and socially acceptable. More late-night scrolling because silence finally arrives and the brain still cannot power down. Less patience for harmless noise because the body hears one more demand. More staying late in the car before going inside, just to breathe first. More jokes about being tired, less honesty about feeling emotionally flattened lately. Maybe he snaps over socks on the stairs, then hates himself immediately afterward. Maybe bedtime stories start sounding like another task instead of a landing place. That shift scares good fathers, because it can feel like love is fading. Usually it is not love fading, it is emotional bandwidths disappearing first. Burnout changes the texture of attention before it changes the heart underneath. You still care, but everything reaches you through static and delayed patience. Even affection can feel demanding when your nervous system never fully unclenches. That does not make you cold, broken, selfish, ungrateful, or somehow heartless. It makes you overextended in a culture that keeps rewarding quiet endurance. Overextension has a dangerous side effect. It quietly distorts the meaning of everything. A child needing you starts to feel like proof you are failing. A partner's question feels like criticism, even when it is ordinary logistics. A teen's silence feels personal, even when adolescence is doing adolescent things. Your own need for 10 quiet minutes feels selfish, so you skip them. Then resentment grows in places you never wanted, resentment to quietly live. This is one reason fathers burn out in silence instead of asking earlier. They are not only exhausted, they are ashamed of what exhaustion is changing. Shame says, if I admit this, I become the father I feared. So he keeps going, becomes efficient, reliable, helpful, and harder to reach. And the family can feel that distance before anyone understands what caused it. Children are sensitive to emotional weather even when they cannot name forecasts. They notice when dad is present but not emotionally available to them. They notice shorter answers, blank stares, thinner patience, and quicker frustration at home. They may respond with clinginess, defiance, silence, or more screen dependence at home. Disconnection makes kids seek regulation wherever they can find it most quickly. Sometimes that means more conflict, more acting out, and much less calm. The father feels depleted, the child feels unsettled, and each intensifies the other. This is why screen fights are often about much more than screens. A father sees a child vanish into a phone and feels shut out. A child sees a father already tense and chooses the safer, glowing world. Both are reaching for relief, and neither feels truly understood yet at home. The phone is not always rebellion, sometimes it is a child-sized shelter. When home feels emotionally tense, screens offer control, distraction, and relief without questions. That is why punishment alone often fails. It targets behavior without calming overwhelm. The same thing happens to fathers with work, scrolling, errands, or sports. Adults also hide in acceptable screens when they feel crowded and under-resourced. No one in the house is trying to be distant. Everyone is trying to breathe. That reframe matters, because blame turns overload into character judgment very quickly. And character judgment makes honest conversation feel dangerous, especially for already silent fathers. There is also a loneliness specific to fathers that people rarely discuss honestly. Many men have work friends, old friends, activity friends, but few emotional witnesses. They can talk sports, jobs, politics, and even tired jokes about exhaustion. But ask what fatherhood is doing internally, and the room gets very thin. So many fathers process pain privately while performing normalcy publicly every day. They mow the lawn, make dinner, drive in silence, and wake negotiating tomorrow. A lot of fathers do not need dramatic advice first, they need somewhere safe. One honest friend, therapist, brother, coach, or support group can lower internal pressure. Not because talking magically fixes life, but because witness strain stops becoming isolation. Quiet pain is still pain, and hidden overload still shapes a family. The real question is what fathers can do before silence hardens into distance. Not a perfect reset, and not some impossible routine from the internet. Something smaller, more human, and much more effective in real family homes. First, stop treating irritability like the whole story of what's happening underneath. Irritability is usually the smoke, not the actual fire burning beneath it. Ask what sits underneath it when nobody is asking anything from you. Pressure, grief, vigilance, financial fear, or the feeling of endless competing roles. Naming the real load lowers its power to leak into everything else. Second, stop using functioning as proof that you are actually doing okay. Showing up exhausted is still exhausted, even if nobody applauds your endurance. Paying bills while numb is still numb, even if the lights stay on. Making dinner while resentful is still a signal worth hearing with honesty. Fathers often wait for crisis before finally granting themselves permission to adjust. But earlier is wiser, and earlier protects the people they love most. Small repairs done early save families from interpreting overload as rejection later. Third, build tiny recovery points inside ordinary family life, not outside perfection. 2 quiet minutes in the driveway before entering the house absolutely counts. A 10-minute walk without your phone absolutely counts more than you think. Saying I am overloaded and need a reset counts more than pretending. These are not luxuries, they are maintenance for a nervous system carrying too much. And fathers rarely need a total life overhaul before taking the next honest step. Fourth, translate your state before your behavior translates it for everyone else. If you say nothing, your face, tone, and withdrawal will still speak. A simple sentence can stop an evening from becoming confusing and personal. I'm tense from the day and I do not want to spill it here. That sentence will not solve everything, but it prevents confusion from becoming injury. It also teaches children something powerful about adult pressure and repair at home. Children rarely need perfect wording, they need enough truth to stop blaming themselves. Stress can be named without becoming blame, and strain can be shared safely. Fifth, do not confuse emotional control with emotional disappearance from family life. Many fathers think steadiness means never letting struggle be seen by anyone, but children do not need a father with no visible strain at all. They need a father who can show strain without making it everyone's burden. That is what safe strength looks like in a family under pressure. Not silence, not collapse, but honest regulation under pressure and before resentment. Partners rarely need polished vulnerability, they need something more accurate than silence. Humane homes are where strain can be spoken before it becomes atmosphere. They are homes where a father's silence is noticed with care, not ridicule. They are homes where rest is not treated like weakness or selfishness. They are homes where kids learn that adults also need regulation too. A child who sees calm repair learns safety, honesty, and emotional flexibility. A child who only sees silent endurance may mistake shutdown for adulthood. Many fathers know that pattern because they inherited it firsthand from other men. They grew up around men who provided, protected, and vanished emotionally in plain sight. Men who were decent, committed, and still strangely impossible to truly reach. So now these fathers are trying to give something better without a full map. That effort deserves respect, and it also deserves real patient support around it. Most fathers are not failing from lack of love or steady character. They are straining under cumulative pressure with too little recovery and too little witness. Instead of asking, why am I not stronger, ask, what have I carried alone? That is a kinder question and usually a more accurate starting point. So if this hits something true in you, do not ignore it tomorrow. Notice one moment when silence starts closing over you and interrupt it gently. Name the pressure, take the pause, and say the sentence aloud anyway. Let somebody real see what the day has quietly done to you. That is not weakness, that is how fathers stay connected under pressure. If this gave words to something your home has been quietly feeling, leave a comment. Subscribe for more honest conversations about what parenting stress does beneath the surface. And if teen distance has been weighing on your house lately, stay close next time.